Okay, in this video what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the HTML5 controls to handle audio and video. We are not going to cover all of the older technologies that your textbook covers, even though right now we're kind of in an awkward transition stage that sometimes requires you to do both to hit the wider audiences. So I just did a quick search for royalty-free music in Google and came up with this website that has some free audio clips. I'm going to go ahead and do an audio clip, but the difference between audio and video is not that different. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to where they have some free songs. When I find a song I like, I can right click on it and do Save Link As. I want to make sure that I save the file in the same folder that my HTML file is, because we're going to make a relative link using the source attribute. I'm not going to waste your time by having you watch me download these files, because sometimes they can get a little big. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to our HTML, and we're going to talk through putting this file in. So I have the structure, the normal structure we're used to seeing, and I'm going to use the new HTML audio file. And the audio file really requires multiple tags to work. The first thing the audio file does is it actually puts the audio controller on the page, either shows the controls or not, allows you to autoplay it when the page opens or not. But then we're also going to have to use embedded we're also going to have to use source tags in between those audio tags too, to actually select the file that we're going to play. Now, the source tag that's going to go between these audio tags, you can actually have multiple sets of those. So if you had a sound in an MP3 format and then maybe in that new open source OGG format, what you could do is you could put multiple source tags in here to make sure that it hits more audiences. Somebody who might not be able to play MP3s might be able to play OGG files and vice versa. So let's go ahead and look at the audio tag itself. One of the things that we can do is we can determine if there are going to be controls available. In other words, will the user be able to start and stop the file? Now, by default, if you put this on the page, the music file or the video file won't start automatically. If you want it to start automatically, then you can go ahead and do an autoplay attribute as well, which will cause the file to play automatically. And that sets up the device, that's the way the browser is going to handle the audio file. Then you actually have to come in and give it a source tag, which has a source attribute. And this is where we're going to tell the player what file to play. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and do sound2.mp3. And I have to tell it what type of file it is, just to let it know that it is an MP3. So I go ahead and do type equals, it's an audio file, and then I'm going to tell it that it is part of the MPEG file type. If I had another version of this saved in a different, then I would just have source tag, and then the SRC equal to sound2.ogg, type equals audio/ogg, something like that. But that would allow the browser to pick which file it could use. So let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to switch back over to my browser and open up the file, and we can see how this works. So notice, because the autoplay option's on, it is going to go ahead and autoplay it, and the controls here, I can start and stop those. There's a little bit of a lag, so let's go ahead and start that. So that's how you put the audio file in there. Like I said, the video file, the video controls work very similar. You have the video tag, you can set up controls. You have a couple more attributes that you can add to it. You can add still images for the poster. You can determine if it loops, you can preload it and things like that. But generally speaking, what you're going to do is you're going to have a video, just like our file here. If I had a video file, we would have video. Controls equals controls. We can have it autoplay or not. Most of the time you don't want video to autoplay because it's not going to download fast enough. You would come in here, you would tell it the source of it. In this case, we might have, dog.mp a V4, or I'm sorry, M4V, which is again part of the MPEG. So, but I would have to come in here and change all of this to say that it was a video file instead, and that it's an MP4 instead of an MP3. And so again, the same thing is it's gonna look very similar, just different types of files, because these files generally get pretty huge. I'm not going to demonstrate how that works. But one thing I am going to demonstrate, and I want to give you a warning, this is not legal to fulfill using the HTML5 tag part of your lab. What I'm going to do is show you how you can embed video that already exists on the web. So I'm going to go to YouTube real quick. And I'm going to do a search for a cute kitten. And let's see, go down here, and that sure looks like a cute kitten there. So when I go look at that, what I want to show you is under almost all videos, let me mute that real quick. Almost all videos, there is a share option. And what the share allows you to do is you can make a link to it. You could say, hey, go look at this cute kitten video, and then you could give it this link. But you also have this embed option. If you click on embed on YouTube, there is code that you can copy and paste into your own HTML that will make this cute kitten video appear on your page. Now it'll still be stored and served from YouTube, but it allows you to put it on your page to make it look like it's video on your page. Of course, you want to follow all copyright laws. But what this allows people to do is, let's pretend you have a small business, you want to make your video, and instead of setting up all of the hardware and software to control video on your web server, you put your video up on YouTube, and then you put this embedded link on your code for your website. So I'm going to go back here. Let me get rid of that remaining audio tag. I'm going to paste that in. I think I messed up and I need an HTTP colon there. Don't know what happened there. So I'm going to go ahead and save this file. And when I go back to my browser and go back a couple to our file and reload it, then there's the cute kitten video here on my website. So if I go back here, let me just show you what I mean. I can put in an H1. Here's a cute kitten. Close H1. Save that. So you can see that this is my page, and that cute kitten video is there embedded into my page, and a user can look at cute kitten videos if they want to. Again, a cheap way to do it on your lab, I want you to use the HTML file, the HTML5 control to embed an audio video clip. But this is another option. So that sums up the part for this class. Remember, because the Tarleton Web Server does not allow you to upload audio or video, it's very possible, depending on the size of the file that you choose for this assignment, that it works fine on your machine, but then when you try to put it up on the web server, it actually might not work. So don't stress out about that. I am going to grade the code section of this. That's what I'm going to focus on. So just remember that. If you have questions, let me know, and this is the end of the lesson.